Bass Pro Shops booth here at the Expo with two-time champion, classic champion, Hank Parker and Mrs. Connie Hill from Ranger Boats.
Thank you, Connie Hill.
We just want to let everyone know we appreciate y'all coming out for this. All you guys have been coming up to me saying you love the Bilge Podcast. Hank Parker has also done his own podcast and things, and we're going to dip into a lot of different topics here regarding Ranger Boats, regarding the history of the Classic here. And let's just start out. Hank Parker, you are a 1979 and 1989 Classic champion. How much has this event changed since the last time you won in 89?
It is amazing. Of course, when I won it in 79, that before we had the arena weigh-in, so everything was done in the parking lot at the Holiday Inn. It is amazing where the sport has come from, and a lot of that has got to do with Ranger Boats. What a history of Ranger Boats, and Forrest Wood working alongside of Ray Scott to build the foundation that we're all enjoying today. It's an amazing event to watch. But the growth has been just phenomenal, and it's awesome to be a small part of that.
That's very cool. Connie, can you tell us a little bit about your role at Ranger Boats?
I've been at Ranger Boats for over 45 years.
Wow.
What I do is I color all these beautiful boats that you see, put all the polyflake together, the colors. I work with customers every day. They call me on the phone because when you're spending over $100,000, you want to make sure that they're getting the right boat and getting what they're after. This is their dream that they've worked for years and years. And we make sure that happens to all of us.
So the customer talks to you directly?
Yes, ma'am. They call me. I put together the polyflakes, the gel coats, the carpet, and I mail it to them. Then they'll call me back and we email back and forth till we get everything the way we want it. And then we have a plant manager that works with me really good, Scott Lack. I get him to actually make me a panel. I mail it to the customer. I print out what they need. He takes it to the dealer. He keeps one. And then he knows exactly what he's getting before he ever gets the boat.
So what's on a panel exactly? When you say you send the panel to the customer to check it out?
I'll take a panel and write up the order. And like I've got a coloring booth back here in the right-hand corner if you need to see the stocking colors that we put together. I will put the deck, the stripes, the top deck, the pins, exactly where he wants everything put into place. Because a lot of times a customer has a business and he wants a boat that he can take his customers out in. And that's what I put together. So it all goes on the website and they can see the boat, the truck, the trailer, and make it all happen.
Wow.
So you're telling me if someone were to order a Ranger bass boat here off the floor today, they could order either an OSU Cowboys color or an OU Sooners color bass boat through you?
Yes, I did the Cowboys boat several years ago.
Have you really?
Still have a panel on it just to look at.
Any Dallas Cowboys boats?
That's the one I did. But the
Dallas Cowboys, yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Very cool.
Hank, has she ever told you that your color choices are bad?
No, I always pick her colors. So she has designed every boat I've ever had. And I did pick one on my own, and I liked it until she trumped me, and I saw her new design. I said, Connie, I got to have that boat. So
yep.
she has taken care of me for 45 years. I've been with Ranger 51 years. So that's pretty awesome that I've had Connie for 45 years.
See, he's older than I am, 51 years.
A lot older, yeah, no doubt about that.
So, Connie, as Hank and I know, there are many trends in the sport of bass fishing. When it comes to lures, we just saw Dakota Abear up here fishing little finesse lures. And back when Hank was doing it, it was all about big spinner baits and big crankbaits. Talk a little bit about trends in the colors of Ranger boats. I mean, do you see where blues are dominant over the reds and so forth and so on?
That depends a lot on exactly where you live. If you live down south, a lot of people want more reds built into their boats. Blues are very popular right now. A couple of years ago, the lime green was essential for everything.
It was hot orange, lime green. That was a thing.
And I watch a lot of the awning companies, and I also watch a lot of the car industries. And then I will go back and look at the territories. I do my percentages in my boats to make sure exactly what's selling in the territories. And that's what you got to put together. And this year I did a Harley Davidson boat.
Yeah. I see a trend coming right now, too, in the boats, whether it's the Nitros, the Tritons, or Rangers, flat gray. It seems like flat gray is a really hot color right now.
You do see that a lot.
Yeah.
Last year, I did a 50th anniversary boat, and I went to Conway to the Toyota place, had them pull their trucks around so I could look at it, got samples of it, and came back and put a boat together. And it was really awesome.
We had a guest here yesterday, Miss Christine Fisher. She graduated from the kayak side of fishing into the big bass boat world side of fishing. And she's got a brand new 208 Ranger. It's the brand new aluminum model. So you're talking about all the polyflake and things like that in the fiberglass. Are you also responsible for the aluminum boat colors as well?
When we first set up the aluminum, yes, I put together all the different colors, the reds, the raspberries, and the blacks, the carbons, and we did a midnight blue. So we've got carbons, and then what we did was we did a lot of the decals on the boat so we could bring other colors into place.
Very cool.
So Hank and Connie, you guys have been, Hank, you said 51 years and you said 45 years. So you've seen Ranger evolve. Is there anything thinking back like that really sticks out to you guys that you're proud of with the Ranger brand?
Well, Forrest Wood was the founder, Flippin', Arkansas, greatest people in the world. He put together and built a foundation that a company is no better than its people. And so he assembled all these guys, and what a leader Forrest was. And he had a lot to do with my career. He inspired me. And a lot of people are looking and they're saying, well, has Ranger changed? Is the quality still there? Is it the same company? Johnny Morris and all the people with Bass Pro have taken that foundation that Forrest built and they have worked on it. They're still made in Flippin', Arkansas. They're still made by the same craftsmen. Joe Pomineer, who is probably one of the master boat builders in the world, he's still there overseeing. It's the same people and that foundation. And I'm telling you, a lot of people say, well, are they the same boat? I'm sitting in the finest boat this year that I've ever sat in my life, a Z521R. And I am so proud of that boat and the craftsmanship and the workmanship and the dedicated people. I salute Flippin', Arkansas. Man, what a job those folks have done.
They have a nice model over here. It's either a 521R or a 520R, and you can see it. They cut out the side of the boat there, and it shows you exactly the craftsmanship that they put into that boat. Things like, they run the conduit all up and down the gunnel, and they're foam filled. I think it's the only bass boat on the market that is foam filled. It's unsinkable. I mean, if you happen to have an accident out there, hey, you're going to be safe because it is foam filled, and it's rock solid.
I loved it when they did the first cutaway about 50 years ago, and they cut that boat away, and Forrest came out and he said, I didn't even get my cowboy boots wet.
Awesome. He was actually in the picture with it in the lake.
That's absolutely.
It's awesome.
We can't sit up here on the Bilge podcast set without talking a little bit about the forward-facing sonar craze. I saw you on with Tommy and Davey this morning. You talked a little bit about that. We talked a little bit on stage here. We talked about the boats and how they're equipped and how they're rigged. It seems like nowadays when someone goes to order a boat from Connie, selects their colors, selects their rigging, everyone wants this forward-facing sonar stuff, right? And I got to ask an old school guy like you what your opinion is on forward-facing sonar. Do you use it today when you're filming or out fun fishing? Do you use it much?
I have been using forward-facing sonar for 2.5 years, and I stink at it, but I love it. It is an incredible challenge to me, but no one ever had the foresight to see where it was leading. And so as I sit there and watch, and I watch the Bilge, I think you do an awesome job. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You're fantastic. And I watched when you did I think you were at Lake Fork, and you were showing all the different people with all the different units, some of them with 4 transducers and with all the different units. I think that at some point we have to stop and say, now, where are we going? And how can we best preserve the integrity of our sport for the future?
Yes.
And whether I like it myself or whether I don't, I have to stop and consider what is best for the sport. And so we're at a transitional period where there's a lot of controversy. And the one thing that I will say about Ray Scott, when he put this whole bass thing together, he took all these alpha personalities and somehow he kept us all in check to work together for the betterment of the sport itself. And so we're at that little crossroads with forward-facing sonar. How are we going to regulate it? How are we going to keep it in check that we don't disrupt and change our sport in a negative way? So it's a lot of challenges ahead. And the one thing, Chris, that I saw on the Bilge when you did the interview, almost all the guys apologized.
They did.
And that bothers me.
They did.
I don't want anybody to ever say, well, I have to do this. I have to go fishing. I have to have this piece of equipment to be able to go. I don't like it, and it's not what I want to do. No. I want you to like it. Yes. I get excited. I'm 71 years old, and if I'm going fishing in the morning, I have a hard time sleeping good.
Yep.
I'm excited. Man, I love to go fishing. And so I want everybody to love to go fishing. So I don't want anybody to say, well, I'm going to go out and I'm going to stare at a screen all day, and that's not what I want to do, but I have to. Man, I want you to go and do what you want to do because you love to.
Man, that's amazing to hear, because here we are at the Bassmaster Classic in 2024. And, of course, all, the 56 guys or whatever out there love the sport of fishing. But yes, going back to that video, when they say, oh, I have to do it to compete. Well, you should be answering that question like, I'm out here because I love it, or I'm out here because I love live scoping, you know, and there are a few of those out there, of course, but the majority of them do say, hey, I do it because I have to. So hopefully, like you said, the organizations are paying attention, monitoring it. I know they took the initial steps in that with surveys and things like that, but I know your old buddy Ray Scott would be quick to get on that and say, hey, look, this is how it's going to be.
We need a Ray. We need somebody that will stand up and evaluate what is best for the sport and not get on your personal side where, well, I like it or I don't like it. It's not that issue. It is what is going to be better for our sport. So let's evaluate it from that standpoint.
And can I ask you something? So, back in your day, it was just, however many anglers were competing on tour had a say. Let's say there was 80 guys are competing or whatever it was on tour. You guys would all get together after a weigh-in and say, hey, look, Ray Scott, I don't like this about this. I don't like this about that. Tommy Biffle would complain about something else. But nowadays, it seems like the social media influence, there are so many more voices. For every professional angler's voice, there are 100 of these people with a voice as well. So how do you mix that in with decisions like limiting forward-facing sonar or increasing a limit size or something like that?
The one thing that I've heard a lot of people comment is, well, you can't stop technology. Well, let me just tell you, there is a rubber center that you can put in a golf ball right now and make that golf ball go 30% further. PGA says, no, It's not going to be the best for our sport. You can put that same rubber center inside of a baseball and you can hit that baseball 30% further. Major League Baseball says, no, that's not best for our sport. So that's the same approach that we've got to take. Regardless of what technology brings to the table, we've always got to have our eye on what is best for our sport and go there. And a little bit about forward-facing sonar and all the electronic boom, it's been unfair to Ranger boats. People say, boy, those boats have gone through the roof with pricing. Right. Wait a minute. They haven't really increased that much. Let's wait a minute. Let's take a look at our, we've got a computerized system. We've got $40,000 worth of electronics. The boats have really not inflated nearly on the scale that they're getting blamed for. It is all the additional electronics that has run the price up.
How do you feel about it, Connie? Do you have an opinion?
Well, I think as far as what Hank said, to be honest with you, the boats have stayed pretty much the same, but this day and time with the technology that we've got, because I've got a son that's a captain and he's got to have all those things or he thinks he has to have them,
right?
Whether he does or not. But that's what makes the boats. You got to have that motor. You want to be the first one that gets out there, but you want a boat that's going to get you out there, bring you back, and you're safe at all times. But yeah, like Hank says, technology goes a long, long way.
I would really hate to see a robot take over your job, Connie. I really would. Keep them away.
Keep them away.
So you've been, Connie, with Ranger 45 years?
Yes, ma'am. Going on 46 will be this June the 2nd.
So when it comes to interior changes, is there a favorite that you have or one that you've seen that the public loves the most that you guys have made?
I think our 50th anniversary boat, Hank, was probably the prettiest boat that we did. It had a lot of work built into it, but it was an awesome boat. But I think every Ranger boat is beautiful. So when I see it on Facebook and somebody's bought a brand new boat, first thing I do is congratulate them and welcome to the Ranger family.
That's awesome. You were talking about you had the color schemes and everything that you've put together, the colorways over there. How many hours do you put into that?
Oh gosh, I put a lot of hours, I'll be honest. I couldn't just pinpoint it because it's something that I do every single day. I try to put together good boats. I look at the percentages of what sells in different areas. And what I do is I put together what I want our dealers to have stocking boats. So they've got something that dealer can go to and look at. And he may say, I really wanted a pin this color or something this color. Well, I can take you right over here because I've got the boat that you need, and we can change that pin on that boat, or I can change that top deck on that boat. And we make that customer happy, and he's got his dream.
That's awesome. Very cool.
I'm just thinking here, Hank, you won your first classic in 1979, and you guys weighed in a Holiday Inn parking lot. I mean, so many years later, decades later, in 2024, you see all these fans out here, fans of bass fishing, not only the dads, the moms, but all the kids here. This is the future of our sport right here. I mean, how do you see us as, fishermen, as the sport of fishing in another 3-4 decades? Hopefully you'll still be around with us, hanging out with us, the both of you.
That might be a stretch.
But do you see our sport on a nice, steady incline? And do you like what you're seeing over the last few years here?
I got involved. I tried 2.5 years ago to put together a fundraising opportunity for high school fishermen. I go to all these different high schools. I listen to all the obstacles. Funding is a major issue. They can't get money from the state or the county for their schools. So I have worked so hard, and I've hooked up with a guy, Danny Bennett with Huckleberry Apparel, to put together a fundraising opportunity for high school fishing. I think we all of adults need to look at what can we do to better the lives of our generation. And the handheld devices, every kid's got a cell phone. We need to get them on the water. We need to get them outside and something tangible and something is real. And our biggest obstacle and our biggest competition is the cell phone. It's all make-believe world. And we've got to get our kids outside and let them smell the water and see the blue heron fly across the lake. And the experience that touches your soul when you're out fishing. Fishing is a lot more than throwing a lure out and catching a bass. Fishing is about an experience that is for real, and it will give you character. It makes you appreciate what God has created in this world for us to enjoy. So I'm really big on high school fishing, and our future depends on how well we take care of those guys.
That's great stuff. That's really powerful stuff. It really is.
Connie, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
How many people, customers do you deal with that are purchasing boats for high school fishing? Do you know? Is it a lot?
Yeah, you see back where I am from, back in Arkansas, Valley Springs, and some of the smaller schools in Harrison, they've all got parents that's got boats, and now they're getting those young men boats. So you're seeing that as going into the future. And I think the younger we can get these young kids into it. I have a great grandson that can get out there and throw that rod and reel like you've never seen. And he's 2 years old. So that's where I'm starting him out, is at 2 years old.
That's awesome.
But I agree with Hank. We need to get everybody off these cell phones a little bit, and let's get these family orientations together and get these kids to where they can get their boats, and we can get this new generation rolling a little bit more.
Think of talking about the youth and just look at the Bassmaster Elite Series. I mean, in the top 10 in AOY right now, there's 4 rookies in the top 10 in AOY. These young guns are after us, Hank. I mean, they are after us.
Yep.
How many of you out here think if Hank Parker entered an Elite Series tournament tomorrow, he would finish in the top 10? Absolutely.
Thank you. Oh, man. I don't know.
Anyone not clapping is probably 14 or 15 years old and gunning for you.
Well,
they're coming hot. They're coming hot.
You guys have all done a good job, and it's exciting that the youth is interested, and it's really exciting to see. You're talking about the lady that was in the kayak now moving up into the bass boat world and starting to compete on a professional level. How awesome is it to see all these young girls in high school fishing? Man, we need the girl. And
it's half our population. It's half our population.
Hey, and I tell these little boys they better look out, because the male ego, girls are smarter than boys. Girls are a lot prettier than boys. And the male ego is pretty fragile. When they're wearing them out in these tournaments, they better be careful. They're going to run all the guys off.
I will say that is one positive to that cell phone and social media and things. Being a young woman, I saw it with Trait when she competed in the Opens. being a young woman in a male-dominated sport like professional bass fishing, this phone has allowed them to be cool fishing, right? You
That's
see all the
awesome.
selfies
Yep.
with the big fish and things, and we encourage all our young anglers, female, male anglers, to promote the youth, especially in the female youth community. Like, fishing is cool. It really is. So keep sharing those photos and experiences.
Absolutely. That is awesome.
You got anything else? I think we need to I'll ask Connie. So when we wrap up these podcasts, the end question is to our guests, do you have any life advice? It can be anything from your work experience, your personal experience, but something that you've learned over the years that everyone needs to hear.
I think what I've learned more than anything, many years ago, Forrest Wood told me, he said, you've got to have patience. You've got to stay and have top people around you at all the time. And you got to learn every day or you're going to be left behind. But one of the things that you've got to do is you've got to be able to be straight up, honest, and be there for the person that needs to be. And you got to be a hard worker. You can't have somebody that just wants to show up once in a while. And that's where I'm pretty lucky. My department that I have at Ranger Boats, they're there every day. And we work in a happy place. And I couldn't ask anybody to be any better to me than Forrest Wood. And I'll be honest, Johnny Morris, he's called me at 8:30 of the night. And I'm just tickled to death to talk to him anytime he wants to call me.
That's good stuff. And Mr. Hank Parker, I will ask you the same thing. You have had a lot of life experiences. You are a very successful man. A hardworking Christian that loves the sport of bass fishing. Can you give our fans here and online some basic life advice, whether they're an aspiring bass fisherman, aspiring NASCAR racer, whatever it is? Can you give them some advice as we part ways here?
Well, you look at where we are today in life, and my hero and the guy that probably had more to do with my career being successful was Forrest Wood. And Forrest Wood's, he had so many quotes, it was unbelievable. But Forrest's greatest quote, in my opinion, was he said, it's no use to dream if you're not going to work. And it's no use to work if you're not going to dream.
Wow.
And so how awesome that is. And that's a philosophy, man. Have a big dream. These kids that say, man, I want to be like Chris Zaldain. I want to be there. I want to make it. I want to make it like all these kids are out here competing that we're talking about, all these rookies. Man, that's a dream. Work for your dream. No use to work if you're not going to dream. No use to dream if you're not going to work. Put it together.
There you go, guys. Set goals, dream big, and work hard.
Awesome.
Connie Hill, we appreciate you being on the podcast set. Mr. Hank Parker, you're an absolute legend. Thank you guys for hanging out with us on the Bilge. We'll see you next time.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, guys.
Enjoyed it very much.